only certain selected people that get what they want. All the other ones, you get nothing. Because it's election, and you have to learn to live with it.
Bob? Taxes is a central issue in every municipal election, this one not being any different. But let me just give you comparables in terms of what our council achieved over 4 years compared to the previous council in 3 years. Tax levy is what the city collects from you, the ratepayers. In the previous term of office, during 3 years, the assessment went up 12.64% in 3 years. Our council, over 4 years, an additional year, came in with a tax levy increase of 4.51%, almost a third of what the previous council did. I think that's one big accomplishment.
It's a very interesting moment when a political bureaucrat will try and explain to you the issue of taxes and how everything was wonderful in the last 4 years. For the first time in 3 decades, City of Cornwall is in debt. Out of the 4 years that we've been in office, under his leadership, 2 of those years, we took money from our reserves to try and balance the books. What it does, it makes it look that everything is normal, everything is all right. They'll stand up here and tell you all the good news about the taxes, but what you have to remember is 2 out of the 4 years, we took money from the reserves to balance the books. At the same time, our auditors come to council once a year, will sit in front of us and tell us your reserves are in poor shape.
We're in the 2-minute discussion segment. Anybody else like to add anything here? Nicole?
Well, I feel there should be changes. And you know, when you're giving raises, and it doesn't matter if it's the police force, the fire department, and you have your paramedic, you have all these important people, they're all doing duties. And you know what? We select the ones that we want to give them the highest raise. And the other ones, it doesn't matter. We'll put you on hold. I am not resting too easy. I'm not too happy.
I think, John and ladies and gentlemen, there's a time and place for good debt. You don't build a recreational center like the new Benson Center, a facility that's going to last 30 to 40 years, any more than you can expect to buy a home, unless you think you're going to save in time to buy the mortgage and pay for it all in one shot. That's why we have mortgages. That's why we have loans for big ticket items. When you build an infrastructure as important as the Benson Center, you obviously incur some debt over a long period of time to pay that in a reasonable, responsible way without putting the entire burden in any one given year to the ratepayer.
What about the hospital?
Yeah.
We'll give it just another 30 seconds, Mark.
Yes, with all due respect, the issue of how we manage the debt and how that whole thing comes to be, it's very important to remember, because when I talk about leadership, and the campaign is about leadership, why is it fair for the taxpayers and the citizens of Cornwall when we go into these projects and they say it's going to be a third, and all of a sudden when the costs escalate, they tell us we have to pick up that extra amount. The federal government doesn't come to the table, the provincial government doesn't come to the table. With political leverage, they should be made to pay their fair share.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our next question. Thank you. The next one is directed toward Nicole. It's been a contentious issue in Cornwall. Development on the 401. One side says to move forward, we have to develop our 401 corridor. The other side says development will harm downtown Cornwall, Le Village, and other traditional retail areas of town. Do you support 401 development, yes or no? And tell us why.
I do support it. Because, you know, there's nothing there. It's an empty space. And everything is empty. Nothing is growing. There's 2 things in life. If you want to keep it that same population, then you sleep on it. And if you want to grow, then you have to take risk and make it happen. Because that's what it is. It's a risk. And you know, the small business in Village are going to make it happen too, because they believe in what they're doing.
Thank you, John. The short answer to your question is yes. I believe in the compatibility of the development around the 401 area with whatever other development is going on downtown. You're not going to fit a box store on Pitt Street, and you're not going to fit a box store in the Village. So obviously those large superstructures, those larger stores are going to migrate towards the 401 on Brookdale Avenue.
Mark?
Thank you for the question. With respect to the big box stores and the stores that might want to locate around the 401, I think it would be more important to focus on, when you're focusing on the downtown, all the good work that's being done downtown with respect to the storefronts and all the good news that's happening down there. And you see a downtown that's more lively. If we continue to push the cultural aspect of the Le Village and the downtown, I don't think we need to worry about what's transpiring on the 401. It's encouraging that big box stores want to settle there, but I think the focus, we still have to focus on the Le Village and the downtown.
So the question was, do you support development along the 401, yes or no?
Yes.
You do. Discussion? Anyone?
I think it's
We
important.
all agreed to that one.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on. Well, this sort of follows along with what I just discussed, and this question is for Bob. In the last 4 years, a smart center wanted to set up in town. But based on the objection of a few people on Tollgate Road, City Council turned down the idea, along with the possibility of millions of dollars in tax revenue. Was that the right decision, and can the city afford to turn away big projects like this in the future?
Well, you never look forward to stopping projects and investment in the community. But the residents along Tollgate Road, where the main entrance and exits were going to be located for this superstore, to me was not a fair situation for them to be in. And regrettably, on Brookdale, between the intersections of Brookdale and Tollgate and the CN rail overpass, there just was not room for an open and exit for traffic on Brookdale. So obviously, it had to be directed to Tollgate. So I think it was a very responsible response to the investment by the superstore people to locate there without having an entrance on Brookdale. To me, that was not feasible.
Mark?
Yeah, it wasn't just a decision that was based on just the neighborhood or what was transpiring in the neighborhood. There was a general sense in the community, and it was reflected with respect to the council members that made the decision, that it just wasn't the right place. It just wasn't the right place for the supercenter, that we felt that it should be closer to the 401. And that was the decision that we made, and we stuck with it.
Nicole?
That's not a problem. As long as they expressed that they wanted them on the 401, they shouldn't have been a problem. They would have been setting up business.
Any other discussion on this?
No,
I guess we're all in agreement as well.
Well, I would just offer an opinion, if I might, John, is that I think as you see the other developments taking place, like the Hardin Group, where it was formerly the Brookshell site, and if you look at what's going on at the intersections of Tollgate and Brookdale right now on the northeast corner, there's what we call scrubbing, where the trees are coming down, so there's obviously indication of a future development there also. So already Shoppers Drug Mart have moved from the location next to the Walmart presently where it is now at the traffic circle, and if one or two others should migrate to either of those other two sites, I think it's quite possible that Superstore would develop right on the existing Walmart site where it is right now.
You know that's what they're already saying.
Anyone else?
See what I
Okay.
mean? It's election time. So
We're
singing you the song.
going to take a short break. We'll come back with some more questions in just a moment. And still to come, we have some audience questions as well. And we will have more in just a moment.